things look pretty good. Of course, general fund total revenue, so we're like
Y'all ready?
2.7 million.
Give me a little bit of that water.
Past where we were last year. And your expenditures are about the same as they were last year, which is good. One of the things that made it, when we sold the kids, we got that money in the fund.
Water.
Yeah, right.
You'll pay me, I'll let you in a minute. After that. Base Lance, is he ready to start? Call a meeting to order at this time. Councilman Bell is going to offer our invocation and lead us in Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
Good evening. Let us bow our heads. Precious Lord, we thank you, Lord, for one more time you brought us here, Lord, to do the business of the community from this council and to make the decisions, Lord, which are in the best interest of everybody. Lord, we come into another year, 2025, a new year, Lord, with new things that will occur, but Lord, do it all the unity of this community along with the council, and we will do the best according to what you want us to do. Thank you for giving us the health and strength to make it through this year, and let us be better persons, citizens, and be better to each other this year than we ever been, and so that we'll grow strong as a community and be the epitome of what everybody else across the state wants to look like. Thank you for the health and strength you give us. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Next, we need to adopt the business agenda. Somebody'd like to make a motion to that effect.
May I make a motion to adopt the business agenda as presented?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Bryant and a second by Councilman Bell. Is there any more discussion on the matter? If there is none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no, and the agenda will be approved. No, we got public comment. We do have one individual signed up for unscheduled public comment, Mr. Davis. Good afternoon, Mr. Davis. I think you know our procedure pretty well, don't you? You come to the meetings. Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you. About the Christmas parade, I thought it was mentioned something about the kids. It wasn't supposed to be candy thrown out to the kids on the street. Now, if that's the rule, fine, or whatever. I'm going to give you an example. I'm looking out for the welfare of the kids, small young'uns. You've got the avenue packed up there, bands playing, everything going on, people throwing candy out, automobiles. Anybody this day and time could stand in that crowd and throw some candy out on that street laced with God knows what. You know, we're in that kind of world now. You face reality. So I'm just saying, maybe there could be something done that every little ways along the parade route, somebody could be there handing the kids candy safely. I mean, I'm just, like I say, I'm just throwing that suggestion out there because I'm looking out for the safety of the kids. And 6 weeks earlier, you have trunk or treat up at the rec, where it's a safe environment. The kids get Halloween candy, But Christmas time, you just throw it out where anybody, and like I say, I hope and pray nothing like that will happen, but I wanted to bring it up, it's been on my mind. Thank you, sir.
Make a motion to approve the December 3rd, 2024 regular city council meetings as drafted.
Okay, motion by Councilman Steenbeck. Do I hear a second to his motion? Second by Councilman Jackson. Is any more discussion on the matter? If there is none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The minutes will be approved as they are presented. Item 6 is new business, and we have a consideration of the budget ordinance.
Good evening. Let me slide up. The police department received some OSC, unauthorized substance abuse tax money in the amount of $7,824.65. So I'd like you to consider to adopt budget ordinance 2025-01.
Anybody have, okay.
To adopt the budget amendment ordinance number 2025.01 in the amount of $7,824.65 for OSC unauthorized substance tax.
Second.
The motion is by Councilman Jackson and a second by Ms. Bryant. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion will be approved.
The second budget amendment was Parks and Rec applied for the North Carolina Amateur Youth Sports Grant, and they were granted $20,000. And that is to purchase youth sports equipment and to provide facility upgrades that would benefit the youth sports. So I would like you to consider budget ordinance 2025-02 in the amount of $20,000.
Anybody have any questions on that? I'm assuming maybe when we have the department reports, we can get a little more information on that. Okay. Call for a motion to approve.
Mayor, I'd like to consider a motion to adopt the budget amendment ordinance number 2025.02 in the amount of $20,000 for the NC Amateur Youth Sports Grant for the Parks and Recreation Department.
Okay, the motion is offered by Councilman Strickland.
Second.
Second by Councilman Steenbeck. Is there any more discussion on the matter? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion will be approved. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, do you want me to do my department update
That'd be
real
fine.
quick? So the finance department is done with the year-end and the audit, and everything has been submitted to the LGC and approved. So we're done with that, once again. And then we're making good progress with OpenGov, and everything's going very well with that.
Questions? Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. We'll start with you, Mr. Chalker.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens. Couple of items. Lake Point Drive sinkhole, which is a project that you approved $65,000 for some time ago. That is about 95% complete, and it's been 100% funded by the North Carolina Department of Transportation. So we haven't had to dip into any of those allocated funds for that. We're waiting on them to put asphalt back on the street where they had to dig and put the new pipes in. And of course, with the Christmas holidays and now the recent weather snap that we've had of cold weather, they're just trying to get a window to get back out there when there's an asphalt plant running, and then that project will be complete. So at the end of the day, it looks like we may not spend have to spend any funding over there whatsoever, so that's pretty good news. Yes, sir.
There's another sinkhole over there, or a sinkhole over there. This morning I was over there.
Okay.
You're not aware of that?
I haven't heard that, no.
Yeah, it was marked off right in them.
It could just be something settling from what they've done, so that.
No, this is, you take a left and go down the road where they're working on,
Mhm.
and you're going about another 75, 100
So
yards.
if there is a sinkhole in that area,
It's a big one.
that would be out of the city limits.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
So, and some of those streets over there are not even NCDOT streets, they're private. So that would be pretty sad news for those property owners if that's the case, but,
They had it roped off and some cones around, something.
okay.
Good.
Also, our leaf collection season, of course, is well underway. We're sort of right dead in the middle of that. And this year, like so many other years, all these leaves decided to just start falling at one time. So we're digging our way back through that. I can tell you, for both November and December, we've spent 2,300 hours sucking up leaves with these leaf vacuums for a total of just over 3,000 cubic yards. And so when you go out to our leaf site, where we had it clean and we had all the leaves hauled out, we've now filled one big, large portion back up already. So it's there's a lot of leaves that are moving out. We're just trying to get coordinated, and we've sort of, in the last month, changed the way that we track where these leaves are being picked up at. So we hope to see some better successes with that. That's my report. If there's not any questions, I'll pass it on to the next person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Patrick.
Mayor, Council, I'm just going to do like a year-end review, a little bit about what we've done over the past year. I know you've gotten your monthly reports or whatever, but I'm just going to hit some of the high parts of it. But, you know, for this year, we run right at 1,000 calls total for the fire department in general. Our staff had a roughly 7,700 hours of man-hours of training, which averages out to roughly 240 hours a year per man, which actually worked out well for us because that's the number, that's the goal we shoot for every year for each firefighter is to get that, and that goes back to our ISO rating of getting max credit for those training hours. We had 2 life saves, which those were just in the last couple months, and we will be bringing them to council in the next coming months to recognize those firefighters that participated in those. And then the big thing for this year is our face-to-face safety messages, where we go out and do fire prevention, where we go out and teach fire CPR classes, we go out and do fire extinguisher classes. Those were up. This is the most that we've had since we've been doing this program for, I think this is going on the 6th year. We had 4,500 people participate in our classes this year, so that's a big thing for us. I would like to give y'all an update. I believe y'all probably saw the email earlier in December where we were supposed to go do the final inspection on our newest engine, and then of course it got canceled because they were having some engine difficulties with it and some engine problems. We were called by the salesman on Friday, and apparently they must have worked on through the holidays to get that situated. So now the salesperson is working on a date to try to get our crew down there to do the final inspection. So it's looking like in the coming weeks we will have a crew to get down there to do that final inspection, so we can move that truck forward and get it to Rocky Mount, so then they can start doing the upfits that's needed to that. So subject to any questions, that's my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. How are y'all?
All right.
We're going to go over some of the numbers, year ending 2024. And before I do that, so we've had some department hires here recently. We had one that Destiny Rover that just graduated from BLET January the 2nd from Nash Community College. She was one of the top in her class. I'm very proud of her. She's going to do a great job here as a police officer. Some of the new hires that we have, Joseph Woods comes from us from Georgia. He was a law enforcement officer in Georgia. Right now, he's doing administrative duties. We will be sending him to school for BLET in February to Nash Community College. Also, Raven Ellis is coming to us from Warren County. She is right now a dispatcher for Warren County and also a firefighter for Roanoke Wildwood Fire Department. Todd Stevenson started on 12/30 of 24. He is already BLET certified. He came from Northampton County as a deputy. We're just waiting on standards to send back his certification so he can start on the road. Right now, he's just doing admin duties. Our turnaround with standards it was months, but now they've turned it around. We're getting it within 3 days, so hopefully we'll get that in soon. And last, we hired a part-time Roger Jenkins. Some of you might know Roger. He used to work here in Roanoke Rapids a while back. Left, moved out of state. He came back, worked with the sheriff's office, and now he's coming back to us part-time just to do some part-time work, fill in when we need him to fill in, and work parades and special assignments and stuff like that. Our yearly report from January of 2024 to December of 2024, we had 98 firearms seized. 2,959 reports were taken. 804 collision reports, wreck reports, 753 community hours of community service, 1,787 citations were written, 855 arrests made. Training hours were 3,476. Animal calls, 1,559. Total calls for service for the year of 2024 was 22,461. So it was a really busy year. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
What was the reason that the officer from Georgia had to do BLET?
Well, so he could come over and challenge the test. He'll have to challenge whatever college he goes to and challenge the state test. But before he does that, last year, pre-2025, it was a 96-hour block that you had to take to transfer your certification from one state to another, and it depending on what state you were going to, whether or not they would accept another state or not. Fortunately, North Carolina is one of those states where, you know, we will pretty much take wherever you could transfer, but you still have to do those hours. He would do that, and he thought about doing that at first. However, now 2025, the BLET legacy program is what they called it. Was a shorter program. It was like 740 hours for BLET. Now they have moved it well over 800 hours with a lot more of physical training involved, a lot more DEI training, a lot more juvenile, because our juvenile laws change all the time. Seems like they change almost monthly. But so he would be better off if he came in and went back through the whole training so he could get everything. He wouldn't be behind, because even if he came in and went to school, he would still be behind on a lot of stuff in North Carolina compared to what Georgia law would be, because everything's different. What would be a misdemeanor here would be a felony in Georgia, and vice versa. So that's the reason why. And we talked to him extensively about what he wanted to do, and he's a good young man. He's got a military background. His wife, I believe, is in the medical field, and that's one of the reasons why they moved here for her. And but he just decided he'd rather go back through the whole BLET program, and I feel like he's going to do real good in that. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Good evening. So I kind of did my report, based on some things in December, because we had a big month. We had a lot going on in December, and so for, some of the highlights for December, we had Christmas on the Avenue at Centennial Park, the Chamber of Commerce, and 1026 Roanoke Avenue, and there was an estimated 500, people at that event. We had Christmas at the canal, at the Roanoke Canal Museum, and there was 75 people. The Roanoke Rapids Christmas Parade, there was an estimated between participants and spectators, all up and down the avenue, of about 4,000. We had a Grinchy Christmas reading event at the Gilbert Chichester Memorial Library with 78, and a Christmas social at the Joe Story Senior Center with 44 participants. So with that and all the other things that we had going on, such as basketball, we had a number of contacts in Parks and Recreation of 22,703 participants. For athletics, we've had youth basketball going on, and there are 200 participants, kids playing in that, and they are playing games December and January, and then we're going to roll right into Industrial League, and that will start up in February, and then also we'll be taking registration for spring sports, such as t-ball, soccer, baseball, and softball, and that will run through March, and then they'll start having practices and games. For our upcoming projects, I just want to talk about some things as far as money that the city's not necessarily spending of our dollars, but dollars that we were able to secure otherwise. For occupancy tax funding this year, there was some money left, I think, from last year, and so we have a total of $114,277.50, and that is being spent on the Canal Museum and trail operations. We will replace the tennis court at Rochelle Park with 3 pickleball courts, and then there will be 4 scoreboards replaced at Ledgerwood. We do have a 20-plus team tournament that will be coming up in July that's hosted from our department and also with youth baseball. And so the scoreboards have been having a lot of issues, and so that's something that will make that tournament go a lot smoother. Like Carmen said earlier, we were awarded $20,000 through North Carolina Amateur Youth Sports, and that money will be going towards 2 scoreboards to replace at Chalk Yacht. All of those scoreboards were bought at about the same time, and they are past their lifespan and have had a lot of issues. Also, if we replace them all at the same time, they will have the same equipment, and then it's a lot easier for us. If one controller messes up, we can, share controllers until we can get something fixed. So it makes things go smoother during our sports seasons. We were awarded equipment. We were given the $5,000, but it was an estimated worth of equipment and training for 2 employees with the archery grant. And so we had 2 employees trained, and we will be starting classes for archery in late February. That's something that we'll do in the gym at TJ Davis, and so we have to wait for youth basketball to get over because it is busy in there every single night. So we have to wait for that to free up. Industrial basketball will only take 2 nights, and then we'll do archery the other 2 nights. And then we were awarded $1,000 with the North Carolina Recreation and Parks Association for a new initiative grant, and we'll be starting wood carving classes, and so we were able to purchase tools and materials with that, and we hope to start that at the beginning of March. So that's kind of where we, ended up in December, and kind of some projects and things that we'll be working on in the next couple months. Any questions?
What age group qualify for the archery and the wood carving classes that you're going to be?
So we could do it from youth, on up to adult. We were going to start the archery kind of from age 10 to 15, and do a class, because that's sometimes, for summer camps and things, we're able to capture some of the younger kids. That's an age group that is harder to capture, middle school, and getting ready, getting into high school. So we wanted to kind of start and see what the interest was with that. And then as we go on, because it's something we'll continue to do, we'll add different age groups. As far as woodworking, we were going to start that kind of at the senior center. Ryan, who is the assistant director, he is very experienced in that and has won ribbons and all sorts of things with wood carving. And so he wants to start at the senior center with adults, with knives, carving tools and things, and kind of see how that goes, and then kind of learn and develop, some skills on before he starts doing that with children, which they will have different tools, and then they will probably start with soap and that kind of thing and progress up to the wood. Okay.
Do you have any plans on doing anything with the old tennis court at Emery Park?
So that facility, there's a group in the community that has been raising funds for replacing that, a portion of that area with a beginner skate park. And then the city has designated some funding towards that. There is a gap between what the city has designated and what they have raised. They are continuing to do some fundraisers and that sort of thing. And we've talked to them several times about, how we can kind of move this along, but there are plans for that area to redo that.
If the council expresses any interest, I think that T.J. Davis is looking really old, the interior and the exterior. And I know that's take very much money to make it look better, but I would hope that you and your staff bring some ideas, and maybe you can get some cost estimates on painting the upper roof and of the gymnasium and the facade and the parking lot and stuff on the front of the building.
Yes.
Nothing has been done in a pretty good while on that.
Right. We sat down on Monday and kind of developed out the next 6 months and what some things that we would like to do, and talked about, some immediate things and prioritize those, and then the next 2 or 3 months prioritize those, and then up through the next 6 months. And some of that included some things that we think need to be renovated and upgraded, and then working on some cost estimates so that we can include those requests in the budget. And that will, be up to you guys to decide what you would like to move forward with.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Planning Department from January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024 issued 904 permits and conducted 1,248 inspections and collected $285,013.46 in revenue. The owners of the former Carolina Inn, so named the Dogwood Inn, have been in contact with development entities regarding cleanup and revitalization of the property. Currently, the property has been stripped of all of the old items, and the nuisance landscaping has been cleared. Engineered plans and a licensed general contractor are required before they can proceed forward, so we're just waiting on that from them. The Toyota dealership, located at 1836 Premier Boulevard, has received temporary power and is in the process of completing overhead inspections. Stateside Landing Apartments, which is located East Littleton Road, steadily progresses forward. Most recent inspections include footings, underslabs, and installation of temporary power poles. The Express Oil site, which is located on Premier Boulevard, which is just south of KFC, will begin site work any day now, so you should see movement there. And lastly, the development of 71 townhomes within the Cross Creek subdivision development is much closer to its final approval. NCDOT will issue their final permit for roadway improvements once a bond is placed with their office. Given that construction is planned to start March 2025, the bond will be placed prior to construction, starting in NCDOT's roadway. So we should be moving forward with that very soon, and we're very excited about that. Subject to your questions, that concludes.
Are those townhomes going to be for rent, or are they going to be for sale?
The owner of the property has developed them here previously, and they sold. So from what I understand, his intent is the same, would be to sell those homes.
Do you have any kind of upgrade on the McCroy's building?
I do not at this time. However, I will check with them, and I can get that to you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens. As of January 1st, the city has 7 full-time vacancies. Our current job opportunities are advertised on the city website, in all city facilities, and with our local media partners. Since the beginning of the fiscal year, so July 1, we welcomed 13 new hires that are still active as of today. Additionally, since Christmas, we've brought on another 6 full and part-time employees. Interim Chief Phillips mentioned a few, including BLET cadets and a certified patrol officer, and we've also, as of this week, brought on an experienced sanitation equipment operator. So we continue to do well with recruiting quality applicants and hires. I know over the last year or two, we've talked about turnover rates, and our employee retention rates continue to dramatically improve, which is good news. As a reminder, for fiscal year 22-23, our turnover rate was terrible. It was 44.44%, and then it dropped to 17.91% last fiscal year. After the first 6 months of our current year, our turnover rate has further decreased to 9.42%, so we are moving the needle in the right direction. And then for demographics, I know that's something I usually quarterly will update you guys on, but for our current full-time employees, it's about 78% male, 22% female, 73% white, and 27% non-white, with 26% of that being African American. Our average employee age is 41, and the average years of city service is now almost at 10 years, so 9.68 years. So all of that is good. And then, just to conclude, I know my department has some citywide projects or initiatives that are pretty major. So our pay and classification study is still on track with the MAPS group. It feels like there's been a long time between when they came on site and the employees completed their surveys, but we're expecting to still complete that project by late winter of 2025. So that's still on track. And then NeoGov, all the core HR products were currently in implementation, and we've timed our implementation to be in line with OpenGov, so there's no lapse in finance and payroll operations. We launched the first of 4 modules before the holidays, and we'll launch the remaining 3 over the next few months. So by the end of the fiscal year, we should be live on a new operating system, which is great. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your report.
Okay. I'd like to take a moment to thank the department heads for sharing some department updates. Especially, it's been a while since they've presented before the council, and so thank you for taking the time to do that tonight. And I've enclosed some things for you that I don't want to duplicate those, but just to make mention of a few things that have not been yet said. We currently have a public bidding opportunity. We are currently soliciting sealed bids for the FY25 asphalt overlay project, which is our street resurfacing, to be funded with the allocation from the NC Pal Bill program. Sealed bids will be opened immediately after the 10 a.m. submittal deadline on Thursday, January the 30th of 2025. And as Kristen has mentioned, the Cross Creek subdivision for the 72 townhomes. Having those permits, those permit approvals in place is a big accomplishment here, and I want to attribute Kristen's efforts there. We met with the developer starting over 3 years ago. I was still the director of the planning department at the time, and Kristen sat in with those initial meetings with me, and I said, you need to start calling her, and there's been a lot of no's along the way. For over 3 years now, no has been said a lot, or no, or provide more information and we'll review it, and so we finally got to a yes. And so her persistence and ability to communicate that with the developer and the other entities that we work for in the administrative review process has come to fruition here, and we look forward to the development of the new townhomes within our city limits. As far as some other things that are going on here, several staff members from different departments will participate in a program being offered by the Upper Coastal Plains Council of Governments in their Regional Artificial Intelligence Pilot Program, as well as its AI Academy that's taking place concurrently to support local governments and how we can effectively use AI tools. There's no cost to the city or member governments to participate in this. There was an orientation on December the 10th, and a sample AI policy will probably be provided for consideration by the City Council. But in the month of January that we're in now, it'll start off with 6 training sessions, and that will help us to learn more about the engineering and responsible AI use and tools like ChatGPT and some others. Also going over the what's a public record requirements and things like that. I commend the COG for taking the leadership in this, because we start talking about AI and technologies and so forth. It's like a foreign language to probably many of us. It's hard to see and conceptualize it, but it'll be a great program for us to have some participation in responsible AI use. And then also the COG has announced that they're in the process of gathering interest for a drone technology program as well. They're seeking participants and member governments for a small fee, but for us to be able to use drones in our day-to-day operations, there has to be some sort of, you have to have it become a certified drone pilot. And so that would be able to assist the city in using drones for inspections. You can do code enforcement, environmental monitoring. You can check out resources that are hard to obtain and reach. So there's many different uses of that, and on the last page of the document in front of you lists that different ways that municipalities can benefit from drone technologies. Subject to your questions, that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you. Is there anything else that needs to come before the council before we ask for a motion to adjourn? Somebody make a motion for adjournment.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting for today, January 7th, 2025.
We have a motion by Councilman Bell and a second by Councilman Steenbeck. Any more discussion on the matter? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Stand adjourned.